Konnichiwa, ice cream des, minasan konbanwa, minasan ohayo, minasan, hi, hello. Welcome to another video here in Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. What I'm gonna show you today is my personal massive rush with Mexican civilization, so I hope you like it and I hope that you find it useful for you, okay? We talk about the deck and the strategy and justify behind this rush in the last video, so if you didn't check it out, well, do it and then go back. Let's get started. I'm testing this tactic against the AI because it is much easier for recording things, because in Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition there's a kind of bug while you record the matches, so sometimes my computer gets a lot of laggy in the middle of the match, so just to avoid that, just to avoid it, I'm gonna do it against the AI, okay? As you can see, it's almost the hardest difficult possible, and well, let's get into. I want to show you against Soliman, that it's actually Turkish, and well, this is a regular match, or it appeared to be a regular match on regular competitive matches on Age of Empires 3 multiplayer. Okay, let's get it started. The first thing that I want to say to you is that we're gonna build civilians till we get 14, okay? 14 villagers is what we want here in order to go to the second age. And the first two cards that we're gonna go for are the two ones that give us haciendas, okay? So we're main focus on haciendas. That's the most important thing on this civilization, for my own way to see things. And if you didn't see the last video, I think that this is the most important because of versatility and gameplay. This is the most important civilization of the whole game, okay? I think that it's the most broken one, but I think at the same time it's the most important because it gives us a lot of new playing styles and new ways to play with a civilization that can be applied to any other civilization in the future of Age of Empires saga. So, well, let's go back to the strategy. We want to improve the collect of food and the collect of wood as soon as possible. So that's the reason that we're building a marketplace. And well, here comes the first hacienda. We want to protect our haciendas as much as possible because it's the most important building in the civilization. As I said before in my last video, here we can improve the food collect, and yeah, put your haciendas on the back of your civilization in order to protect them with the other buildings. And it's pretty important for this civilization to get a lot of treasures in the map, because that gives a lot of experience, and that experience gives us a lot of cards. In this case, we're gonna pick the card of the other hacienda. As I showed you before, the cards are pretty important for this civilization, and in some way we're gonna, now in this moment, we are moving the whole villagers into wood. As you can see, 9 into wood, 4 into food. Our food don't gonna last that much. You will see it when we start making military units, okay? But as I said before, we need around 300 or maybe 500 of wood in order to build some houses, in order to do some using of the cards that give us military units. We need around 500 of wood for that, for the deck, and around 3 houses or 4 houses depending on your army and how much army do you lose in the rush. So around 4 houses will be alright, and after that get 500 of wood to make an army, okay? But well, as I was saying, Mexican civilization is pretty alike to the US one. So USA and Mexico are pretty alike in the game, at least on Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. So it's pretty important to collect a lot of treasures on the map in order to get the full deck cards on the right time to make the rush, okay? Now we're doing some army. We have 2 haciendas, 3 houses, 4 houses, marketplace, and well, 500 food and 165 of wood. That it's so poor. We need a lot of wood. You will see it after. But well, let's go back into food by the moment, because we need now to make more army, and that will need more food. So that's the reason that we're moving the civilians into food. And also the haciendas are producing food by this moment, so don't you think that it isn't that much food, because you're gonna need that much and even more than that. So it's never enough food when we're talking about Mexico. Here we put together our 2 heroes in order to heal the first one, and we're keeping producing civilians. We get some army with cards, and we're looking for the next card. Okay. We move out our civilians into wood again, because we need 250. And well, that's basically a tactic of the rush. We're gonna start the presser as soon as possible with our army that is in front of our enemy. You can put your headquarters a little bit in the middle of the map to do a kind of phase base and do quickly move into the rush. Now we're watching the presser. There's a lot of presser, and there's a lot of mass there, a massive army that is pushing, and that's the whole reason of this deck and this way to play. As you can see, I had some enemies on my base, and I decided to push them back with the upcoming troops. We keep the pressure up. This army have a pretty strong attack against buildings and against chivalry. That's the reason that we are winning in most of the scenarios with this rush. That's the reason that I decided to attack the village center, because of that. Okay. More army to get the rush even stronger. We need to keep generating food. We almost lose every single soldier there, so we need to deploy back again and start pushing again. That's what I'm gonna do in this part of the match. We need a lot of food. As you can see, I have no gold. I have no intentions to go to 3rd age. There's no reason, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. We're doing a 2nd age rush, and that will be enough to end it up with most of your enemies, or at least with the most of resources of your enemies. So you can see I'm losing a lot of units there, but don't worry, that's natural, and that's what's gonna happen. But don't worry about it. This army is pretty strong on hitting the enemies, but it's pretty weak on HP, so that's the reason that you're gonna lose a lot of HP faster and a lot of units in the process of rushing. But don't worry, it worth it because of the damage of our units that are pretty strong. So let's go back into the pushing, and here we have it. The whole army with the horses, with the military by walk. Come on, come on, come on, get into, keep pushing. By this moment you can see the score of the match, and you can see that we're going further than our enemies, and that's because of the pushing. We don't leave them farm resources easily, and that puts a lot of pressure over them and starts to decrease the economy of the other opponents. Yeah, we keep on pushing, and we need more food. We can find it because we ended up with every single animal in our village, but don't worry about it. By the moment you can see that when this building it's down, everything is set it, okay? Everything is set it. You can see that he has no army left. We can cover our food needs with this brush and with the supply of food that just arrived. If we can upgrade the generation of food on the haciendas, it will be better, okay? The sooner the better, because we need a lot of food. Melee fighting, and as you can see, that's the strongest point of this military unit of Mexico. As said before in the last video, if you didn't watch, well, go watch it. And we keep on pushing. That's the kind of rush that you hoping to do with Mexico. Pushing rush that really lasts for the whole match, and that gives no chance to recover the economy in order to you keep on growing. As you can see, my resources now are growing up, and for the most of the match my resources were at 0. We're at the top of the limit of wasting, but at the same time now we have covered that, but at the same time we have a strong army, and the enemy have no economy, have no army, have no buildings, and that's the most important part of it. So this kind of pushing rush, it's pretty intense and requires a lot of fast working with the mind and adaptiveness to the enemy. And that's the strongest point of Mexico, the adaptiveness of the military units, because we have so many options of military units with Mexico. And if you didn't watch my last video, I think that the two counters for this Mexican civilization that is the most broken one of the game, I think the two counters would be Portugal and the USA, because a strong economy, a strong booming, a strong army, and of course the special thing that they have are the Gatlings, okay? The heavy machine guns, the Gatlings, are the most important counter against Mexican army because of the shooting radio. It's pretty high, and they shoot a lot of enemies at the same time, shooting pretty fast. That's the natural counter for Mexico. So if you matching against Mexico and you want to win it, my personal suggestion will be USA, picking USA, or maybe Portugal, okay? Depending on how you play and how much you know to use these civilizations. If you want, so I can show you a pretty strong strategy with USA that I just made for the game. It's pretty strong, pretty amazingly strong, but I think that even that, this Mexico will be a pretty strong opponent for that strategy with the USA. They're pretty tough, so I think that, yeah, Mexico is the most broken civilization of the game, but USA is pretty close. As you can see, we destroy buildings pretty fast, and we're going for the resources of the enemy with our 4 civilians, and well, basically that's it. But yes, as you can see, well, we're ended up with the enemy and with the match too. We're getting these calls and getting them to the base, to our hacienda in order to produce more food. We upgrading our civilians to collect more resources in less time, upgrading basically our economy. That is a pretty strong recommendation with Mexico. You need a lot of resources because you doing a lot of army in not much time, and that's the strongest part of it. Now we ended up with a match, and basically by this point you're going to third age. Look at my resources, they are amazing. You can turn every civilian into Goldie, and that means that you can put everyone into gold by now, at this moment. Or you can keep building an army till you get to the limit of population. Look, here's an enemy. So you can use this strategy for a strong pushing. Personally, I would recommend this strategy combined with other two civilizations. I would personally recommend France, France and USA to combine with this strategy, because they're doing something for you. Okay, USA army by walk is pretty strong and it's pretty massive at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the match, yeah, early game. But at the same time, you can get Gatlings and third age, and you can start getting some factories at the third age, and that gives us a lot of advantage on resources. And that gives the durability to this army that we need. So if you're playing 3 against 3, I would recommend personally to go with some allies, pick up USA and France for the chivalry. But USA and maybe native civilizations of America would be also a good option, or maybe British with the chivalry units will be also another viable option for this kind of teams, 3 versus 3. If you go into versus 2, double Mexican will works, yeah, but I don't think that it would be the best combination. The final is gonna be pretty strong, but I don't think that it's not gonna be the best one. I think that the best one could be British and Mexicans, or maybe USA plus Mexicans. That would be the strongest combinations for 2 against 2. But well, use your creativity. I can also show you a lot of strategies using for 2 against 2, including double Indian civilizations, including double African civilizations for massive rush, including double US civilizations, or one of my personal favorite combinations of doubles, that it would be USA plus China civilization against the others, with the Chinese cannons, fire cannons, that can end up with almost every single building, and the chivalry pretty fast. So well, there's a lot of combinations to taste and to try out, but well, finally double Mexican civilization will be okay. For 1 versus 1, this is one of the strongest strategies in the whole game, about massive rush and about pushing the enemy back. So for the end of the video, let's check it out, the stats of it, and see how it was. Look at the score, massive difference. You can see resources, economy, military, and experience too. Experience is something important, as I mentioned, because of the US civilization. It's pretty important to get a lot of experience with your hero in order to get more cards of your deck. Okay, we can show here, and well, that's basically it. That's everything that I got to show you about this special rush with Mexico. If you got any suggestion or comment of how to improve my deck, or maybe my strategy on rushing, well, tell me and I will read you on the comments. Also, if you want or need another tutorial for another civilization, well, I can help you, because this is a game that I like the most. That's everything for today. See you next time.